Guys, I tell you what, I might be changing my mind on Baggers and the touring lineup. Alright everybody, what is up? What is up? As always, thanks for stopping by to another video today. I am super excited for this one because we are taking a ride on this beautiful 2021 Harley Davidson Street Glide. So I am super excited to get on this bike and check this bike out because I have never been on a Street Glide. I have been on Road King, Road Glide, but this will be the first time with the Street Glide. So super excited for this one. Already got a couple miles on it just to get out to where we're here. Wanted to stop and pull over and take a closer look at it for you guys here. Pull over and give you guys a look into this specific Harley Davidson Street Glide Special. This is my dad's bike. Like I said, first time ever riding on it. Super excited to get you guys some additional information what this first time experience is like for me. So of course, before we get started, let me know what you guys think of the age-old debate. Drop it down in the comments what your favorite is between the Road Glide and the Street Glide. Of course, with the Street Glide we have the Batwing fairing mounted to the forks, and then the Road Glide you've got the shark nose. So let me know what you think as far as performance, handling, looks of either of those. Let me know your favorite. Drop it down in the comments. Let me know. I'll give you a little bit of my opinion as we go with the actual ride of the bike as well. So as we take a look at the actual bike itself, this is a 2021 Harley Davidson Street Glide. Of course, before the new fairings or anything came out, I do really actually like the older traditional style fairing, but that's a conversation for another day. Some of the modifications we have on the bike here: Rogue Rider LEDs with the smoked cap lenses. We've got the Arla Ness air intake here. We also have some grips swapped out. We have the silver flush mounted gas cap. We've got the older seat here too. Actually, I believe he took this off his 2009 Street Glide. That was on that bike for a while. Surprisingly, it still fits today in 2021. And then of course, to finish it off, we have the Reinhardt Racing slip-on exhaust here. We will give those a sound check in just a minute. We're going to turn it on, give you some sound of the Reinhardt slip-ons. So let's go ahead and fire it up here for you. Quick little walk around of that sound. These do sound really good with the 114, gives it a nice deep bassy rumble there. And obviously too, I forgot to mention, as you guys can see, this one is in chrome. For these years you could have got them blacked out or in chrome. I actually like these with the chrome, same as the new ones as well. I actually like Baggers in chrome instead of the blacked out looks. Now Softails, I kind of like the blacked out look, but with these, the Baggers, Road Glide, Street Glide, Road King, and everything like that, I kind of like the chromed out look. So I think it looks really good in this one. This is the billiard red color that was in 2021. So we are ready to hop on now. We're going to hit a little bit of some smaller country back roads at first, and then what I'm really excited to see is how we do on the highway with this, because of course I'm used to my smaller bikes, Sportster, Street Bob on the highway. So I'm excited to really put down a couple good miles of this on the highway and see what it's like with a big full fairing bike. Alrighty guys, so we are now the first few miles in on this thing, and I gotta tell you, this might already be changing my mind about touring and Baggers. I've been so in love with the Softail line for a while. You know, my Street Bob, I actually absolutely love that bike. Smallest frame you can get the 114 in. You know, big fan of that whole line, really. Lowrider S and bikes like that. And I always say, you know, the Baggers are too big, they're too bulky. You know, I like to keep the small bikes as much power to weight ratio as I can. Plus, with where I live in Philadelphia, I don't really have much use for a Bagger except like if I was traveling and stuff. But being on this now, you're just, it really is that touring Bagger experience where you've got the weight, you've got the power, it's just so comfortable. You're just locked in. So right off the bat, I'll talk a little bit more about the powers. The Milwaukee 8 114, obviously, same engine I have in my Street Bob. I will say, kind of right off the bat, one of the things that I was curious to notice was how the power to weight ratio would be. And I will say that extra couple 100 pounds on the Street Glide, you can definitely notice the acceleration not quite as quick Don't get me wrong, fully, I mean, amazing and capable, perfectly fine engine. Just not quite as quick with the acceleration with that extra couple 100 pounds there, one thing I'm noticing, but not a whole lot. I mean, you still get a good kick when you crack on this between second, third, fourth gear and things like that. And like I said, I'm really excited to see how we do up at highway speed, which will be coming up soon. Here's a good test of some handling here. Of course, we're coming around a roundabout. Just lean right into it like you would with any other bike. It feels really good. Like, my legs are tight to the tank. I'm sitting right down in this comfy seat. As far as the rider position, of course, you've got the floorboards down here, and then these are stock handlebars. I know a lot of people like to change their handlebars, raise them up a little bit higher. Honestly, like, I got no problem with this stock handlebar position. I could just go, I could feel like I could go for miles and miles and hundreds of miles, just like these things are made for, kind of with this stock setup. Floorboards feel really good. You got your feet planted just nice and firm on your floorboards. You don't have to worry about any of that fatigue of like dealing with pegs and stuff like that, like I do on my Street Bob and Sportster. Now, one of the things that I always say I kind of got to get used to when I'm riding a fairinged bike is kind of the fairing itself. For me, it's always been a little bit weirder, you know, coming from the Sportster and the Street Bob. I've got a couple smaller fairings on those bikes, but you can kind of see right down into the road. Now, when you think about road glide, street glide, you kind of have to keep your gaze out just a little bit farther because you can't really see what's right in front of you. So just something to get used to there. Something for me anyways to kind of think about when I get on these, you know, bigger fairinged bikes. But yeah, it's just like any bike. Once you get moving, that weight really kind of just disappears and the mechanics just end up all being the same. You know, extra weight you're going to think about coming to a start and stops and things like that. You're going to have some extra momentum carrying you forward. One thing to consider, but you know, other than that, hopping on this thing feels totally good and natural. And then going back to the whole road glide, street glide debate, I think a lot of people, especially lately, you see with the road glide ST, CVO, a lot of people are really leaning into that performance bagger trend with road glides. Specifically, I think that's mostly just due to the frame mounted fairing with that bike, because a lot of people say you feel less weight up front than you do with the fork mounted fairing. So I guess, you know, a lot of people just kind of say that lends itself more towards performance, which does kind of make sense if you think about it. If you have a lighter feeling up front, that might lean more towards performance. But I gotta be honest, I have no issue. I actually really like this fairing here. It's really covering the entirety of the rider for the most part, in my case anyway. But of course, I'm a little bit shorter. I'm 5'6", so I'm hiding back down in behind this fairing here. We're gonna see in just a minute how I like this out on the highway where it was actually intended for. These baggers just crushing miles out on the highway. We're gonna get to that in just a second, so stay tuned. Alrighty guys, so we just merged onto the highway now. We're gonna start it off a little bit slower on the highway. Just kind of work through some of these increments of speed here. So again, we're taking a look at kind of the cockpit here. You've got your infotainment. Not going to go over a whole lot of that. There's plenty of videos out there on how to work those things. I'm not super interested in that, but you got all your gauges and your dash and everything right up super close. That's one of the things I like better about the Street Glide, actually, is you can mess around with the bars a little more if you want to, and the cockpit is still right in your face here. The Road Glide, the bars start to, I don't know, block the dash and some of the stuff like that. But anyway, that's a little bit of my opinion on kind of your overall setup here. After a few more miles, I am starting to see how people might want to raise the bars up or maybe push these forward. You do get a little like kind of cramped inside. Some people, I do see now how you might want to raise those up. But anyways, we're holding now on the highway around 60, 65 in 5th gear. We're going to pull it up to 70. I'm curious to see if I get any buffeting on my helmet here. And mostly just overall wind protection. I'm just really curious to see how this all plays out at the higher speeds. So we're up around 75, 80 now. 80, feeling good. Yeah, I'm feeling some wind on my arms. A little bit of vibration on the helmet. That could just be kind of like me and my height and my setup. You may have to kind of adjust these windshields a little bit depending on your height, but we are holding fine at 80 right now. This is super good and super comfortable. You know, doing exactly what these bikes are made for. Able to just crush miles out here on the highway. I will say, as we pick up more speed now, I am getting a little more vibration on the helmet, so might be me again, my height, wherever I'm sitting in relation to the windshield. Actually, yep, that's got to be it. As I come up a little bit higher and sit myself up higher, it totally goes away. When I'm right here, I'm starting to get a little vibration of wind. It's probably sending it right in my face. As I get up just a tad more, that becomes much more clean air. So I'm going to try to stay in this position as we accelerate more up into 80. Let's go to 6th gear. We're at 90. Guys, this is like nothing. I'll take one hand off. 95. 100. I mean, you're definitely feeling some of the wind, but it's nothing like on my street bob where I'm like fighting to hold on to the handlebars sometimes at those higher speeds. Alright, let's dial it back down here. A little bit more natural cruising speed of like 75, 80-ish. Again, this does have cruise control on these baggers, so that's another nice feature if you're out there putting down long miles on the highway. Set that cruise control wherever you want it and just forget it. It's so nice, guys. Most of the time when I'm cruising on the highway like anywhere between 70 and 80, which is good, pretty comfortable on my street bob. I don't complain too much about the wind, but just this, you get this good pocket of air behind this nice big Street Glide fairing. Just makes it so much more comfortable for traveling on the highway. In 6th gear, still holding about 80 miles an hour or a little bit more. The extra weight just makes it so much more comfortable at these higher speeds. Like, it's a dream. It's like you're just gliding on a cloud on these things on the highway. The other nice thing too, I feel like the extra weight makes the throttle a little less twitchy. Like on my street bob, since I don't have any cruise control or anything like that, my wrist and forearm on the highway just get absolutely smoked gripping that thing and trying to control it the whole time. I think the extra weight here really kind of like dampens some of that down, makes it a little bit easier to control the throttle. You don't get as much like crazy twitchiness. So we're coming up on a truck here. Let's check out some of this passing power and ability here. Oh yeah, that's great, guys. And the other thing too is I didn't really notice as much feedback of wind from that big truck like I do on my street bob. Sometimes you get around some of those bigger vehicles and those things are creating wind tunnels and flapping you around all over this place. This definitely felt nice and steady and firm. Even with the fork-mounted fairing, some people say that blows you around a little bit, but I don't know, it's a little bit of a more windy day. I haven't really noticed a whole lot of that just yet. Alrighty guys, so that's a little bit of the experience on some of the back roads, a little bit of the highway. Now we're going to get back into town and wrap this one up. Alrighty guys, so just a quick voiceover to wrap this one up. We had some minor audio issues at the end of that one, but yeah, that was a totally great experience for my first ride on a Harley Davidson Street Glide Special. Absolutely loved it. Would love the opportunity to take it on a little bit of a longer road trip like it was intended for, to crush some of those long miles on a nice big touring bagger. So of course, let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. Let me know what you think about this Harley Davidson Street Glide, and also let me know what you like better between the Street Glide and the Road Glide, the differences between the two fairings there. Drop it down in the comments and let me know. I will be curious to see everyone's feedback down there. But as always, that'll go ahead and wrap this one up for now. If you like anything we got going on here, make sure you go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you guys ride safe out there. As always, make it a good one, guys. It's the Moto Jawn. We'll see you all on down the road. Peace.